Good evening, everyone. So today we're so happy and glad. So we've just invited our former Raffles Christian School Kubonjur campus student, which is Claire Regina Kurniawan. So I would like to, show her background. Okay, so basically, Claire Regina Kurniawan went to primary, middle, and high school in RCS KJ, and now she's studying at York University, majoring in psychology. Fun fact, she provides education, recreation, and support opportunities to individuals or peer mentor in the same major. She was considered a top performer for Cambridge IGCSE academic year 2017 to 2018 and achieved a total of 5 A star and A grades. My name is Javier, and I'm from Junior College 1 of Raffles Christian School, Kubonjur campus, and will be your host today.
And I am Nara or Kara from Secondary 2 and will also be your host for today's podcast.
All right. So, Clear, how are you, Clear?
I'm okay. Not much. What about you?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you, Nara?
I'm doing great.
Okay.
Okay. Are you having your midterm exams now?
Actually, yeah, midterms started like early October and they're ending kind of, well, I wouldn't say they're ending, but my last exam before final season is November 24th. So it's like week after week I always have like an exam pretty much. So yeah, because I'm taking quite the number of courses this semester. So yeah. Yeah. So it is kind of midterm season, I guess I'd say. Yeah.
Oh, I see. So you're preparing really hard, aren't you?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I mean, you're studying really hard, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I guess so. As hard as I can. That's what I will say. Yeah.
Okay. Fun fact, guys. So not long ago, I texted Claire at around 12:49. I mean 12:49 p.m. Jakarta time, and she's texting me back around 12:50 p.m., which is 1:49 a.m. in the morning, and she's still up. And I asked her, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing, Claire? What are you doing? That's in the morning. You should be sleeping. What are you doing? I don't get it."
Honestly, so sorry about that. Honestly, sleeping after midnight, like even in JC, in my opinion, it's become so normal. It doesn't even like if you for me when I see it's 12 a.m. and this is not just for study, by the way, this is also for kind of like it's just become I've become so used to it because of study that now when I want to do other things, like for example, play with my friends and stuff, I just look at the time. I see it's like 0:00 or it's like 12 a.m. I'm like, it's only 12 a.m. Like that I have like 3 more hours and stuff to like do other things. And I know this is not very healthy. I do not encourage everyone to have a really messy sleep schedule. It is not good for you. But I also just it's just become like such a norm here. And I guess that is like one of the things that they say about university as a meme. That's like, oh, you're just gonna sleep at 3 a.m. You're gonna wake up at 6 to go to a lecture. And that is actually so true sometimes. Like, it really depends. And I guess that's why it depends on your time management and stuff. But sometimes you also just have so much to do that it's just hard to like sleep at like 10 p.m. and have everything done because you're human. And when you're in uni, you don't have like everyone doing stuff for you. You don't have, for example, like your mom to cook for you. You don't have you don't just have someone there constantly to be like, here's your food, here is your something that you need. Oh, let me drive you home. Because using a car here, like I swear, I I miss having a car. I can't drive, but having like a car to bring me places instead of using like the subway or something, it just takes so long. And because of that, I don't even go anywhere. Sorry, guys, but like, yeah. So yeah, when you're in university, you have, well, most of the time, I guess this is the situation where you kind of just you cook for yourself. you have to do other things that is more than just study. It is more, uni is like a test of like your resilience, in my opinion, in terms of like life. And it's not, it makes you learn a lot in such a short time, and not just academically. That's what I feel university is like. And so, going back to your time thing, 12 a.m., it seems like such a late time, and it seems like, what are you doing at 12 a.m.? But again, you're human, you do things, you do human things, and it's just normal that way. And you're gonna look at 12 a.m. you're gonna be like, it's fine, I can squeeze in a bit more. I can either like I'll watch a movie maybe because I don't have the time to do that in the daytime, or it's like, yeah. So it's a bunch of different things. And I know it's really late, but you'll probably get used to it over time. Like, yeah. So
But did you not consider your health? I mean, 3 a.m. is where your body needs to, relax and work, work like normal, as a normal human being.
yeah, no, totally. I do like, I guess in a way, that's the thing, right? You kind of have to choose and sacrifice at times. And it's kind of, that's like how it is most of the time. It's like, okay, do you want to sleep early and maybe wake up at like, I don't know, 6 a.m. for school, right? That's what I used to wake up for school. And I mean, you can do that. Or do you want to just sort of like get most of your work done now, so tomorrow you don't have so much to worry about? That's how I think about it. I like to think of it in an aspect where it's like, I want to do things that my future self will thank me for. So that's what I tell myself when I want to procrastinate, when I'm not in the mood to do anything. I'm like, just do it, because you, in a few hours, when you want to play a game, when you want to watch something, you'll not think about this. And that's what I tell myself, and I feel like it's very helpful. So instead of being like, okay, do this because you have to, do this so your future self thanks you. And it's sort of like, okay, good. Now I can sleep more. I can do other things more. So again, time management. And of course, I'm not saying that don't take care of your health. That is very, very important. I wouldn't say sleep at 3 a.m. every day. Definitely like space it out. And of course, going back again, time management is very important in uni, in life in general. It's just if you can manage your time well, if you know how not to procrastinate, everyone has different study methods. If you know how not to procrastinate, it helps like so much. It helps so much. Like, yeah, we actually discussed like several study tips, which I can like just give you, or I can like say a few later on if that's something that you're interested in. So yeah.
Yeah. But isn't your health is your wealth? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, well, for that, I don't know. I'm not the biggest
I mean, like,
self-care person.
if you sleep at 3 a.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. and you go for a lecture, you cannot concentrate at all. Like, how do you stay productive? That's not healthy at
Yeah,
the same time. How do you cope with that?
I guess that's why that's just one of the things, honestly. Like I've had that situation before where it's kind of just like, I had like an 8 a.m. lecture in the winter. You have to walk like with snow and everything, and like it's cold. You just want to lay in bed and everything. And it's hard. It is hard. But I think it's also the fact that like professors understand this. And it's also, again, your brain will tune in at some point. Like sometimes that 8 a.m. lecture, that was like a 3 hour lecture. Of course, your brain's gonna tune out at some time. Like, of course, it's just gonna happen. You tune in, you tune out, and stuff like that. And again, especially now with how I guess like the hybrid way of learning, some professors do record their lectures beforehand. I know I have gone through a lot of classes where they are like, okay, watch the pre-recorded lecture, so you know some information. You come to lecture and we're just gonna explain some of that stuff for you. So it's like that. And it's kind of just like, I'm not saying it's optional, but it's okay if you tune out from time to time. It is normal. They record that lecture sometimes and you can always look back. So um that's why for me, usually if it's like that, I either sleep really early. Those are the days, like that's the one night like before that 8 a.m. class where I will like sleep early, for example. I don't do that like every night though, because I do have a lot of things to do. But or it's like coffee. That's how I cope. I'm not saying that again, it is healthy, but that is how I cope. I do advocate for, I guess, sleeping early because I think people should do that, but I also think that it is sometimes very unrealistic. And it's just like health is wealth, but it is so much harder than that. I'm not trying to scare anyone and be like, okay, university, you have to sleep at 3 a.m. every day or you're not doing it right. That's not true at all. That is so not true. It's just that that is so normal around here. And it's like, if you don't have to do that, that's amazing. That's great. Like, if you don't have to sleep at 3 a.m., if you don't have to sleep after 12 a.m., let's say, every day, that's amazing. But like, yeah. So different people have different ways of doing things, and whatever works for them, this is what works for me. But if it doesn't work for you, then that's completely normal. Don't worry about it. And it's just, you know, it's just do what's best for yourself. That's all really.
Yes. Okay, that's the nice perspective from your side. Okay. Although it's quite mind blowing though. Okay. But before we continue further, like we want to know your background. Okay. So as we already know, like you choose psychology as your major, right? But we want to know like why choose psychology as your major? Why? What's the big reason behind it?
Well, to be honest, to be completely honest, I didn't even know what I wanted to do until my mom told me. She was like, you should go for psychology. And I was like, okay. I mean, because the thing is, I don't really know what else I want to do. So that's that. And the thing is, up until a few months ago, I didn't even know what I wanted to be in terms of like, why am I taking psychology? Like, I don't know if I want to be a psychologist. That's like a lot of stuff. That's like a long time of school. And so and with an uncertain result. So the thing is, a few months ago, I guess last semester in the summer, I took a writing and psychology course. And my professor there, she's amazing. I love her so much. She was great. Oh, and this is just a fun fact. Professors sometimes are great, sometimes they're not. But either way, you can always change your professor. So you'll learn about that more, I think. But yeah, so she's amazing. This professor, she basically she gave us, on top of like lecture content, she had this one class where it was like a workshop, and she sort of like brought in like one of the student volunteers, and she was like, okay, today we're going to talk about pathways in psychology, because I know that that's not widely spoken about. And I was like, that is so true. I actually don't know. And I found that like I was actually very, very scared because of my future, because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I had to do, and I was constantly scared. Like, they say like to get into graduate school, you need labs, you need experience, and to get into labs, you have to know professors, you have to talk to them, you have to get started early because you don't want to stay an extra year just because you have a lab. This is all very confusing. I was very confused when I heard it too, but yeah, basically, graduate school is like when you get like your PhD and everything, and it's just like so yeah, it takes a long time. And this professor, she was like, well, there's more than being a psychologist. You don't have to be a psychologist. And this is so this is where um I was a bit like, okay, like I'm not really sure where to go now, what to do, because I don't know what I want. And then this student volunteer, she talked about being a psychotherapist. And a psychotherapist is someone who, from what I know, they basically give talk therapy, but they don't diagnose anyone, and they work in a team. And instead of having to go through years and years of graduate school to end up with a psychologist degree when you don't need that, you can just go to master's, let's say, or a psychotherapist degree, to be a psychotherapist, to get a certificate for that. And I was like, okay, that kind of sounds like it makes sense, and I think that that still aligns with what I want to do. So the reason why I guess I wasn't against being a psychologist, going into psychology, going back to this, is because, and this has a relation in terms of like why I'm choosing to be a psychotherapist now, is because I like sort of talking to people. Like listening to them. I like being able to help them. And I think that that's a very like, I feel like that's just something that a lot of people need right now. And I feel like that's, just to be heard by someone. I think that that's very important. in a world where it feels like in a world where you can feel lonely a lot of the times. That's what I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to do it for my friends. I would like to do it for more people who actually who go through like the things that we see on like a bigger scale, for example, and stuff like that. And I feel like going back to the psychotherapist thing, that's exactly what a psychotherapist does, in my opinion. I would have to research more on that, but like, yes, I think that is what they do. Point is, I just want to help people. I just want to make sure that they're okay. I can't change the entire world by being a psychotherapist. What I can do is I can hope to change at least someone's little small world. And for example, if I talk to someone and I make their day a bit better, or I may help them sort of, get rid of negative thoughts, or at least help them put it aside, that would be amazing. I think that that's very helpful. I would understand in some sort of aspect how that is, because sometimes I need someone to talk to, and when I do have someone to talk to, it makes me feel so much better. So why would I not do that for other people? I hope that made sense.
Yeah, so we can relate this. Do you know who Jordan B. Peterson is? Do you know?
No, I do
Oh,
not.
I think you should
Jordan.
research more about him because it's related to psychology, and he's the best. He's the best in psychology subject. Yeah, you can research
Mm,
about him. It's Jordan B. Peterson.
thank you. I
Um,
will look that up.
by the way, we're also interested to know, Claire, when you were still in Raffles, specifically secondary 3 to 4, like what or which subject combination you choose? Is it
Um,
is it all three sciences, or just physics, chemistry with business or econs, or just one physics and with business and economics?
well, back then in grade 9, I did not have economics. That's one. I kind of just took all the subjects, I think, until grade. Well, I guess I dropped chemistry because I don't understand it. I'm so sorry to the chemistry people out there. I did not understand chemistry at all. So I had physics and bio. And then I remember I took physics, bio, business. Um it was just business back then. There was no econs. And then yeah, but in JC, this is where I think I took the combination thing, where it's like I took economics, biology, physics, and math. Yes, those are the 4 subjects that I took in JC. But for IGCSE, it's those with I guess math, Chinese, English, Bahasa, ICT. I think those are the ones. Yeah. So yeah.
All right, all right. By the way, talking about IGCSE, like, do you have any advice for anyone watching this podcast or listening to this podcast? Like, any study tips, techniques that you can share?
Okay. So this is something that I really think people should spend time on, and it's figuring out how you study best. Because the thing is, you can hear the same techniques again and again, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. There is no point in trying to, especially like, I don't know if they still do this, but we had this visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner, and it's like some people will say, oh, that's not true, and stuff like that. But of course, it's like it kind of helps in a way. It kind of helps with in digesting different types of information. If you learn better in terms of like visual learner, because I'm a visual learner, I think sometimes, and it's bio, draw your diagrams, draw your mind maps, and then it really helps you when you're trying to like memorize stuff like that. And I guess in general, besides that, it's sort of like, again, manage your time. You don't want to be left with 1 week, and then this is just for IGCSE, and a lot of people, they'll be saying to you, IGCSE is nothing compared to A levels. It is slightly true. Don't want to scare you, but it is slightly true. But again, I don't um you should also worry about IGCSE, because in some aspect it is important. So just my study tip in general, whether this be for A level or IGCSE or Cambridge checkpoint or anything, it's manage your time. You don't want to be left with 1 week and then you're studying from that 1 week, especially for A levels. You have to start months before, and how we are encouraged to do it and how I did it, which really helps, do past papers, like so much of it. This is something that I kept hearing from our physics teacher, Mr. Lakshman, and Mr. Yash, our econs teacher. They are always saying that. Do past papers again and again and again. There is this link, it's called GCE Guide. You bookmark that on your laptop, and every day just go there, even if it takes you a while to finish a paper for like at first, don't worry about it. It's progress. Just keep going at it, look at it again, and then if you have a question, your teachers are there, the answer key is there. I'm not saying go cheat, but like, you know, you want to keep doing that. You want to maintain and be consistent, because that's kind of what's important. You want to be consistent. Do a paper. I'm not gonna say do a paper every day, because that's sometimes it's unrealistic. If that is realistic for you, then go ahead, do it. But like, do at least, you know, at least 5 papers a week, let's say. Just keep doing it. You have different subjects. Make sure that you give the same amount of attention to your subjects, or like not the same, sorry, but like a rather like equal amount of attention. Is that the word? Yeah. For all your subjects. If you are struggling in math, for example, but you are like acing biology, then you might want to give a little more attention to math, right? You don't want to be spending all your time on bio. I like bio and I'm good at it. And like, of course, you're great at it. That's amazing. Practice it, but go back to that math, because you're going to keep needing it, and you're just keep doing that. Just keep being consistent. Papers, 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 papers. That is what they always did. And I truly wish that in university they gave us past papers. They do have mock tests, but if we had past papers, that would be like amazing to just look at, because the amount of practice that you get from that, the way you can understand the questions that they give you, you see a pattern after a while, and you're kind of like, oh, all right, okay, I know what I kind of know, like what they might give maybe and stuff like that. And above all, I guess this is just for the exam aspect. I don't know. I guess it's like also, oh, sorry, this is still studying. Also, remember to give yourself breaks. That goes back to time management. It is not realistic to go to school for like, I'm not sure how long, but for like half your day or
Yeah.
most of your day, come home and then like go right back studying. Of course not. Your body needs to breathe, and it needs a break at times. Give yourself these little breaks. That is more realistic, and it's more efficient, in my opinion, as compared to pushing yourself until you're burning out. And then when you're burning out, you kind of just, that's when you know you break down, and that's when you feel like, oh, I can't do this, and you start to panic, and then everything feels like it's like going bad. And it's not going bad. It's just because you're so tired physically and mentally that you can't like sort of realize like what you're doing anymore and stuff like that. So that's kind of my advice. Just papers, 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 and give yourself breaks at times. Even if it's just like, okay, I'm gonna study for 2 hours and then I'll give myself a 30-minute break. I will maybe like, you know, I don't know, I will just scroll my phone for a bit or something, 2 hours again. And then don't forget, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to do human things. Don't punish yourself for that. That is very that's not healthy at all. And actually rewarding yourself while you study is a great way to just keep going, because if you keep doing it and you're like, what am I even doing this for, the exam is like months away, you're gonna lose motivation. That's just gonna happen. You're gonna feel like, why am I preparing for this now? That it doesn't matter. Everyone says IGCSE is nothing compared to A levels. I mean, like, I still have time, I still have this. You will procrastinate. So instead, give yourself a reward, maybe like a daily thing, or like this is something that I do. I have this app, it's called Notion. Highly recommend. If you don't have Notion, don't worry about it. It's just a fancy way of doing a to-do list. So every day, this is something I heard in my leadership training. Every day, set a goal for yourself. And it's like, whether it's like, okay, today I'm gonna finish this chapter. Okay, and then yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna finish this chapter. That's my goal for today. I'm not saying you should focus on that like for that day only, but that should definitely, like, you should complete that goal every day. And it really helps. It's like it makes you like feel like, oh, okay, I actually did it. Okay, and then you can tick it off. And it's such a satisfying process when you just go through your day and then you tick more things off, and then you're like, okay, I'm actually done with everything now. So yeah, that's what I do. That's what I feel like that's my little reward, being able to tick things off and see everything in like blue on my Notion app. So yeah. But otherwise write it down. It's really easy. Tick it off, scratch it off, something. Goal setting, as many times as they repeat it, and you might feel like this is nothing, I don't want to set a goal, why do I need to set a goal and stuff like that. It is actually very important, because in a way it reminds you, especially when you keep it up somewhere and you're like, oh, I want to get this many A's in my GCSE, I want to reach this score by this exam, I want to be able to have this grade at the end of something. It just reminds you every day, especially when you put it on your desk. It's like, this is what I want, and this is what I'm aiming for. This is what I'm working towards. And it's just like, yeah, that's what I think is helpful. But yeah, so those are my study tips. Past papers, very important. Give yourself breaks. Don't punish yourself, reward yourself. Um, reward yourself. That's very important. Even if it's just like, oh, I'm gonna finish these 5 pages and then I'm gonna eat a chocolate. Great, go for it. Like, it's okay, you deserve it, you did it, like, especially when you do something more than what you usually do. Even if you do, oh sorry, even if you do more than you yeah, if you do, especially if you do more than you usually do, yeah, then you definitely deserve a reward. I'm not saying that, what I'm trying to say is rewards are more than just when you finish the final product. uh it's about the process, it is involved in the process, and eating and just like giving yourself a little space to breathe and stuff like that, those are rewards too. So it's very important to do all that stuff, because again, you're human. You're not just like, you're not just a student, you're not a robot who constantly studies. You're human, and you need things to like help you, give you that energy to keep studying. So yeah.
Yes, well, that's an awesome perspective. But before we move on, listeners, please take note, because these are valuable lessons. Because I'm going to take my notes now and gonna write all what Clear is saying. Okay, but while waiting, Nara, please continue.
Okay, so I'd like to ask, are you still using that technique where you like study and then like give yourself a break, then continue studying?
Yes,
Are you
I
still
do.
doing it now?
Yes, I still do that now. I actually used to not do that when I was in Raffles. I only started doing it like here, I think. It's because like back then, at least in like Raffles, because I come home at like what, 4 or 5 p.m. and I don't have the time to sort of be like, okay, let's give ourselves a little break, because I just have to like go at it again. And then like I end up being really tired. And then, at the end of the day, it's like at 10 p.m. and then or 11 p.m. And then I'm like, oh, I really want to sleep right now. And I do. I just fall asleep. I sit on my bed. I'm like, I'm gonna read my textbook. I sit on my bed and I melt into my mattress. It is like it is not good. That's why I say give yourself breaks. That's why make sure you have energy to just keep going. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so one more question.
So
Where do you
good.
learn those techniques? Like, do you think it like naturally you did it? Like,
Mm. Okay, so well, the thing is, they give you like sort of like, there are like many workshops in university where you kind of just visit and you can like learn things like how to manage your time efficiently. I've never gone to those workshops. How I learn these things is, I mean, you can go to those workshops, but yeah, how I learn these things and how I learn specific things about myself is actually when I got to uni. And it's sort of like I kind of like I tested things out, and like you try and you fail, and you realize after a while, oh, this works for me. As well, I'm taking an anatomy class, and this is how I learned that I was kind of like a visual learner, because I have to see colors and I have to see like mind maps so I can like visualize where each item is on like this paper, and like that makes me memorize it better instead of like, let's say, like a proper list. And sometimes people, they like a proper list, it just helps them more. But again, everyone is different, and that is something that is probably one of the things that I learned in my leadership trainings. It's everyone does things differently. you will learn differently from me. I will learn differently from you. How I learned these is because just from try and fail, honestly. I go to my classes, I see what it is that I need. I try. I used to take notes on my laptop and it was not efficient. So I started using them on I have paper. I have like 4 stacks of paper here, all color coded and everything for all my classes. And yeah, that's what works for me. It's being able to see what it is that I need and all that stuff. I know that in raffles you might not have that amount of time, but the thing is, in uni you're not in school for all that time, right? Unless you're taking like a lot of classes. But for me, I go to campus like two times a week, and usually it's like for just like short amounts of time, and it's like in those breaks you can do whatever you want. And I guess that's kind of where I realized, like, okay, I have the freedom and I have the time now to sort of figure out what I need. If I had to draw diagrams back then in biology for like JC1, JC2, or like, you know, IGCSE, I would have told myself it's a waste of time. And I would have told myself, you're just procrastinating. And the thing is, it's not. And I realized that now because it actually really helps. I had like a lab test recently for anatomy. And the fact that I was able, that I've looked at my drawing for so long, because I kept going over it again and again. And I'm like, okay, this is like this like that, this is that, this is that. And like I was able to visualize it in my head as I was doing the test. And that helped me like so much. So like that's what I learned. And I was like, oh, what an epiphany. Like I'm actually kind of like a visual learner now. Again, not everyone is not fit into a certain category. I'm not saying like, oh, if drawings help you, you're definitely a visual learner 100%. No, everyone's a mix of like something. And it's not, again, these things change. You change. And it's like you might change now when you're grade 8, and you might change again when you're in grade 11, and you're going to change again when you're in uni. That is just something. This is speaking a little more than study techniques, but like everything with you constantly changes. You are not this constant sort of thing all the time. So yeah, that's, I guess, going back to how your question, how I learned it is just, it's I would say it's more unnatural, and you kind of just try and fail. But again, I don't know if it's a good time to spend like a whole week trying to figure out what it is that you're like doing best at. It's kind of just study while you're also exploring that side of yourself, so again, see what about you that you feel like, oh my god, this actually feels good. I don't mind learning it. Sorry, I don't mind learning in this case. Then that works for you. That's like how you will like absorb information better, how it helps you better and stuff. And you don't have to feel like you have to compare yourself with someone else, and because oh, their notes have like a lot of words, their notes look smarter than mine because mine are drawings and like mind maps and everything. No, absolutely not. Everyone learns in a different way. Everyone will look at information in a different way. And it's just the way you process it. Just because it's different, it doesn't mean it's wrong. That's all I will say, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a trial and error, yeah. So like
Yeah.
if the first way you fail, so like you gotta look for more ways.
Yeah, I guess so. I would say so. I used to do the laptop thing where I just wrote a list and everything, and it went really horribly. So now, writing your notes, there are some general tips in terms of like, oh, write your notes in your own words and stuff like that. I know it's hard when like you're constantly changing slides, and it's like, oh, I can't think of rephrasing that. So yeah, that one you kind of just copy and paste, and then you review them at the end of the day. You go back to them, and then you're just like, oh, okay, this makes more sense and stuff. Sometimes that happens like way too often, in my opinion, where you copy things from slides all the time. This is why I feel like in lectures, if you can just copy paste, sometimes that's like, especially at 8 a.m., like that's okay. Like keep going for it. It's okay. Because when you review it and then you're like looking at it and you're like, I don't remember writing this. Like, what did we learn in this class? And then it's because like you're so tuned out, or it's just like because you're constantly copy pasting, your brain kind of just feels like it's like it's like almost like an automatic process and everything. And so it's like, review your notes. That is like something that's also very important. I think that was my mistake when I did the laptop thing. I kind of just read through it and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. But when you rewrite your notes in terms of in like a way you understand, that's like it's very helpful because it breaks down the information for you without you knowing too. But like, yeah, that's what I would say. When you read your notes, again, this is the trial and error thing, but like, yeah, sorry, an extra tip. I'm diverging here. But an extra tip, when you reread your notes, don't just read them off a page and be like, okay, you want to like stop, think about what it is that you wrote and what you understood from it. And it's sort of just like, oh, okay. And then, mnemonic devices, I don't know if like you've learned that stuff, but it's just that helps me so much, especially in terms of bio. It's like, I think you'll learn more about that later on, but yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, mnemonic devices, those are really cool. Trial and error, that's the way, in my opinion. But again, don't spend like a whole week trying to figure out, oh, okay, this doesn't work. If you know for sure that doesn't work, don't even try it. Like, don't even try it. Don't be like, oh, I am going to create an audiobook and then I'm going to write this whole thing down on a Word document and have it like listen to it and figure out if I'm an auditory learner. Don't do that. If you know it's not going to work, don't try that. But if it does work for you, that's great. So again, it's just like figuring out like what it is you already feel like is working for you and sticking with it and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, so like I'd like to ask your hobby, like maybe is your hobby helpful for you in the way you study? Like do you
Sorry, no, go on.
oh like do you read books like about psychology maybe that also helps you on your studies or like your hobbies?
Okay, well, I don't. I like fiction books, as in like fantasy, romance, all that stuff. Things that take me away from reality, from this reality. So that I like. I'm so grateful that because books are so expensive. I found a place, it's called Book Outlet, and I got this from a writing and psych course. And they sell like books by a much cheaper price. And I'm just like, I'm so grateful that I found that site because I have like shelves of books now that I haven't read because of all my courses, but I will get to soon. I don't know if that helps me with my studies, and I'm actually kind of grateful that it doesn't because I feel like that's again, it's a hobby and I don't want it to interfere in a sense. I don't want to have to do my hobby such as writing or reading or playing games and then be like, oh, this is in a way studying because it relates back to my study. Like, I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. And again, that's just me. Some people do like reading psychology books. Some people find that it's interesting. Again, so this is a little bit of a divergence, but I feel like this is something that my counselor said to me, and it's that you are so much more than a student. School is a small part of you. And it's like, I don't want school to consume my entire life because then what am I? What am I outside of school? For me, I am a reader. I am sort of a writer. I like doing these things. And that's what makes me who I am. And it's just like, I don't want to think about, oh my God, this is what I learned in my course or stuff like that when I'm reading, when I'm doing my hobby, when I'm supposed to be relaxing. I guess that's what I'm supposed. That I guess is what I'm gonna say. So yeah.
Okay, so like if we talk about our future plans here, like may we know what's your future dreams, maybe occupations that you can share with us?
I guess right now it's a psychotherapist. That's pretty much it. I'm working towards that. And anything else, this might sound sort of selfish or greedy, but honestly, for a long time, I just want to be rich. And I know I'm so sorry, but I just want to be rich. I want to be comfortable. That is what I want. And if I can do that by being a psychotherapist, that's great. And that's it. I just want to find, this sounds like a very I guess the word for it is lame with quotation marks. I will say with quotation marks. And it's to find peace in life. And if I can do that by being rich, that's great because I don't ever have to worry about things, right? But that's one of my goals in life, to be a psychotherapist, to have enough money, to be comfortable, be comfortable, be able to be happy without feeling like, you know, the way I felt like back then. And it's sad, it's dark. I am not gonna get into it, but yeah, so yeah, that's it really. So just find peace in a world that's constantly beating you up, in my opinion. Or there are where so many things happen and you're always tired. That's what's important in life, I think. And you can do that however you want, you know, whatever your dream is, it's your dream because it makes you happy, right? Because it gives you an idea that, oh, I think I'm gonna be comfortable this way. Then yeah, go for it. Yeah, no one's gonna stop you. You have no limitation technically. Almost. I'm not gonna say that completely because that might feel a little selfish to say, but in some aspects, you don't have a limitation. You don't have limitations. Yeah.
Okay. So let's turn back time. Okay, let's turn back time. So, what school time moments do you miss and wish it could happen again in the future? Any favorite
Uh,
moments?
okay. Well, this one I would say I'd have to go back to my JC too. My grade 12, that was my last year, and COVID took my graduation away from me, which I'm so sad about. But um honestly, that year, I think that was probably my best year in Rebels. So fun fact about me, I didn't like school. Not in a sense like, I mean, like I know a lot of people don't like school, but I genuinely was so excited to get out of school and get into uni because I was always like, I can't handle it. Like I feel like there are so many people. I'm always like I went through a lot of sadness in my time, like through primary and secondary school, that I constantly was just like, I need to get out of here. I can't stay here. I can't stay here. I don't feel like I felt so alone in a lot of those times. And it was in JC too. I finally didn't feel like that. And I was like, that was like it was so great. I still have so many Snapchat memories of me and like my friends. And like every year, you know, they say like, oh, 1 year ago or 2 years ago. And then like I watch them and I still feel the same way I felt when I took those videos. I feel so happy. I feel like so like, oh my God, this is young. This is me young. This is me enjoying the present time. This is me finally saying, it's not that it's me finally kind of like wishing that I didn't have to go, that I didn't have to leave all my friends, that I didn't have to move on from this. I miss them, and we don't talk that much anymore, unfortunately. But that honestly, that entire year, where it was constantly like, you like afternoon classes, and then what happens in afternoon classes? You buy food together, you drink coffee together, you experience things together in this time where you're almost graduating. And it's like it's so bittersweet in a sense where it's like I love them so much. I loved my friends so much, and it's just there's so much that I experienced there that I just felt like so happy. I think that whole year would be like a moment in a sense, or at least the first half, because COVID took the second half, would be a moment. And I wish it could happen again in the future, where I was just, you know, my teachers were amazing, my friends were amazing. When I went to school and I was like, this is gonna be great because I'm gonna see my friends. And then my teachers there, Mr. Yas, Mr. Laxman, and Mr. George was there too for a bit, and everything. It was great. Miss Sheena, and she
Oh,
was like, yeah. So those are the things. Those are the people that made at least my last year of high school really memorable. And you know, I was really sad when we had that like goodbye Zoom call. I think that's like no, that's probably not the first time, but yeah, that was amazing. I think that year, half a year alone, those 6 months changed my life. I would say they gave me such great memories, and I would definitely want to experience that again. Yeah.
yeah. We always cherish every moments in life because time keeps on ticking and we gotta move on. And moving on, by the way, do you live alone or with someone else? Maybe like, are you independent enough to live alone by yourself? And who's gonna protect you, though?
So in if you're asking as in like, are you living alone like without family? Yes, I am living alone. I live in a house right now with so I have housemates, not roommates. So technically it is with someone else, but I have no family here. So I have no family in Toronto. I do have in Vancouver. So yeah. So there's that. Relating it to being independent, I mostly do things by myself. No one really does anything for anyone else. It's not like I have someone that comes and like cooks for me and everything. You clean your own space and everything. Being independent, again, this is another thing that I think finds naturally. This is why I feel like university, it's really like a time in your life where you find out most things about yourself. And it's like mind-blowing almost. Because to me, I expected, sorry, this is just little side note, but like I expected, oh my God, when you go to uni, Claire, you're going to be like, you're going to go out with your friends every night because you don't have a curfew. You don't have parents telling you got to stay home. You can go anywhere, right? And I came here and I was like, I don't want to go out. I want to stay home and watch anime. Like, I don't want to go out. I want to stay home, get under my blanket, write something sad, and call it a day. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so different from what JC2 me thought that uni was going to be like. So yeah, again, now going back to the whole independent thing, it's like, you have to do your own dishes, for example. That's one example. That's a small example, but I didn't have to do that back home. But yeah, I have to do my own dishes. I have to mop my own floors. I have to change my sheets. I have to do my own laundry. It is a lot. And it seems like it's a lot. But again, this is just things that you have to do. You don't want to leave your dishes like in the sink. Someone's gonna complain, especially if you don't live alone. And you kind of just like, you grow up, you mature. This is the time in your life where you kind of start doing things for yourself. And it gets a little hard sometimes because you have to study, you have to do things. But then again, this is great because you're learning outside of the classroom. You are learning outside of your studies. You never stop learning in life. And this is just one of those things. You learn about, oh, okay, this is how I wash my dishes properly. This is like something that I feel like a lot of people don't think about. Like, like those tags like on your clothes where it's like, oh, you can only wash this with the same colors, no dryer. That actually becomes important when you're here. Wait, I mean, not when you're in Canada, but like when you're in uni and you're like, oh, okay, I have to split this up. I have to do this and that. And you kind of like learn how to manage your money better, for example, because you're not constantly, you are getting a flow from your parents, but you also kind of become more conscious of it instead of looking at it as if it's like an unlimited card. And you start being like, oh, okay, this week I need to do this, 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 this. You plan for the future more. You do things for yourself more that probably you didn't do back when you're still like, in Raffles, like when I was still at Raffles. And it just happens naturally. And then after a while, I've been doing it for like a year plus. And after a while, it's just like, it's normal. It's normal. It's being independent. You kind of don't even realize it. But yeah, it is normal. It's just something that happens, in my opinion, naturally. You are just gonna have to do it. You're going to have to do it. You don't want to have dusty floors. You don't want to sleep in the same sheets for a whole month. You do not want to ever not do your laundry or anything like that. You're going to do it because you are going to feel like I should do it. And besides cleaning and everything, just a little side note, I believe cleaning relates to better mental health. So, if you have a better place to study, that's going to help you too. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Maybe you want to drink for a while there? You've been talking a lot. Are you not thirsty?
I've been drinking my coffee since just now, so I'm good. It's okay. Do you guys can take a break? Don't worry.
Okay, so like, should we move on or like take a break first? Oh, okay. So like in that case, how do ruffles shape your character and in life?
I guess this is something that I saw a lot of myself in uni, and it's the fact that it's like, especially in those years where you have exams, like IGC, for me it was IGCSE, AS, and A levels. It's just you. I think that you put in like, okay, how am I going to say this? I think Raffles helped me in a sort of sense, like with how to plan ahead. Because Mr. Lakshman, Mr. Yash, for example, it would be like maybe we're in term 2, for example, and they're already saying, okay, start revising, start everything. And I'm like, why would I revise 6 months before the exam? And it's like, I realize now I should have revised 6 months before the exam. But like, yeah, now going back to this, I know exactly like how much time, not exactly, but like I kind of know how much time I need for each subject. I know how to keep constantly like working and going for it. Like I think that is one thing that Raffles has taught me, at least in JC1 and JC2, being able to um push yourself through even if you don't feel like it, just push yourself through, again using the study tips that I gave. But like, yeah, that is something that Raffles helped, and it's just giving me, providing, no, sorry, um helping me explore my resilient side, I would say that. And it's sort of just being able to give me like, you know, a drive in some sort of sense for academics. And it like it shows so much more in university, because in university you don't have teachers constantly telling you, if you don't, I mean, like they'll give you a deadline, they'll give you a reminder, but if you don't do it, that's it, you get a 0. They're not going to be like, why didn't you do it, I'll give you an extra day to extend. No, you don't do it, that's it, it's over. Unless you text them and not text them, sorry, unless you notify them and you're like, I need an extension because of this, and sometimes they'd be willing to give it to you. So yeah, how did Raffles shape my character and you know, like in life in general? I guess it's just that, helping me build my resiliency in terms of like academics especially, or in like in all of things. Again, going back to the independence thing about having to live alone, I think that if I was someone who just having no experience of being able to take care of myself in that way, and you know, pushing through to constantly do that, it's like it's hard to take care of yourself sometimes, and it's something you should be proud of doing. So it's like, um yeah, I think that's a really it, being resilient in the little things that we all do, studying, taking care of yourself, whatever it is. That's how Raffles would help me, I'd say. So yeah.
Okay, so like, because of this COVID, for a couple of years we did online, right? It's like, what do you think and how do you feel about online school? Do you like online school more or like offline?
Well, for me, I know that people say being online, like it's hard to connect, and I totally agree with that. I didn't feel that way until I moved here in uni. And when you're in uni, everything was online. I don't know about anything. I was kind of just like, I don't know what's going on. This is something that I wish Raffles did teach me though. It's how to navigate uni things, like whether it's like uni emails and it's like all that stuff, especially like enrolling in courses. I was so confused about that. I really that would have been a great post-exam activity, especially for JC2 kids, just being able to give a little overview of like, okay, this is usually the general layout of this kind of stuff. But anyways, going back to the question, I'm so sorry, I keep diverging. Online, it's harder to connect with people, surprisingly. And it's like, because to me, I'm just looking at your face on the screen, I'm not like talking to you, I don't like feel like your presence or anything. And most of the time, again, people keep their cameras off and everything. Even if they don't, you're kind of just staring at them, they're not even looking at you, or they're just staring back at you, and you're kind of like, okay, this is it. It's not fun when you don't know anyone. But again, to me, I feel like there's no difference because I just learn anyway, like that. Um, and I'm also sort of an introvert, so excuse me, so I don't actually find myself talking to people, whether it's online or offline school. But some people might feel that difference in a sense, like when it's offline, you're definitely more likely to talk to people. Like I saw this in my leadership training, because I attended this leadership training when it was online, and I didn't talk to anyone. No one talked to each other, as far as I know. Like after the breakout room, for example, that's it. We go back to the main room. I don't think anyone talked to each other after that. But then in the offline, where I helped facilitate it, where I volunteered to facilitate it, people were actually talking like outside of the breakout room. They were in their groups. And then when we went for lunch together, for example, or when we took a break, like they were conversing with each other, they were exchanging socials and everything. And it's just like you can definitely see that more, like that sense of community more in offline as compared to online school. Me personally, I don't really find a difference. I like that I can, I feel like schools should have a sort of hybrid model, at least in university, because, people have to commute to school sometimes and it takes hours and hours and hours. So it's like being able to at least, okay, if you can't attend the lecture, here's your recording, stuff like that. And that I feel like that's a better option instead of forcing everyone to just one. It's like stay at home or come to school. And I think it should be more of like a balance between the two. So that's my opinion. Yeah.
In Raffles, we have a lot of different events. For example, when I was still in Sec 1, back then, like we went to Bogor. We had an event called CBC Camp or Character Building Camp. Or in Sec 4, we have Learning Beyond Classroom and a lot of things that's going on. So we would like to know like the events in university. Like what are the events that take place there?
Well, for orientation, there are several orientations actually. So I help facilitate them this year. So there is the general orientation where everyone's kind of there and you're going to be split into groups and everything. But there's this one thing on orientation in here that we have. It's called Frosh Week, and it's basically a week full which you can join and sign up for. You get like a ticket or something, and then like you attend all these things. You attend the YOD. I forgot what that stands for, but that's the general orientation. You have the academic orientation, which is specific to your faculty and your major. And usually this is where people make friends. And it's like Frosh Week, they have like several things. So I know it's a whole week of like just event after event after event. So for example, there was a concert on the Friday. There was like there were like these club showings on like the Wednesday or the Tuesday. And then like again, different days have different things. And it's like, so those are one of the events called Frosh Week. It might differ in your own university, but I do think that a lot of universities have something like that. And it's just for you, it's really great to find friends, at least for your first year or stuff like that. In your major, you'll probably be taking the same classes together anyway. So you'll constantly be meeting them. And who knows? They might be your like friends for life. Again, that's a bit, friends for a long time, I'll say that. But yeah. And then other things, they kind of have a lot. The thing is, there are so many student clubs in university. It just depends on what you want to join. That's really it. And all these student clubs, I'm part of UPSA, which is the one that I'm a peer mentor for. We had an event, it's called a Get Psyched social event. And we had like these games and everything. And then people from all majors technically can come, but it was mostly psych majors there, I think. And you talk to people, you kind of just eat some food together, you just play some games, you have fun. That's like one of the events. Different clubs have different events, and especially now it's like almost Halloween. I know that there is an event called the Haunted House in the Cadaver Lab. So I'm not going for that because I'm scared. But I do think that I think it'd be fun because they're gonna have like skeletons and like human muscles and everything like everywhere. I think it's gonna be a blast. I think that's just one of the things. Yeah, so again, it depends on the student club. It depends on like just that kind of stuff. In terms of the uni itself, like separate from the clubs, I can't think of anything besides the orientation stuff because it really, really depends on what community you're in. And yeah, those are just kind of the events. Most of the time it's like it's just games and stuff like that. A place where you can relax without feeling like I have to study, stuff like that. So I think that's what student clubs provide. And it's like sort of like this safe space where you can be outside of where you can be something besides a university student while also being a university student, because without the university you wouldn't have that club. But yeah, that's what I would say are our events kind of. So yeah.
During your time in Raffles, did you attend learning beyond the classroom in school? Where and how did you feel?
Do you mean like the camps, like as in like CBC camps?
Yeah,
You mean
specifically LBC specifically. Yeah.
I forgot the word for it, the term for it, but I did take one. Actually, I took several. I took one in grade 9. I don't know if they still have that one. I forgot what the name is. I'm so sorry, but it's like, so I think it's supposed to be like a CBC part 2, or it could be the LBC. And then I took the one in JC1 where we went to Jogja, was it? I believe. No, was it? No, that was in Sec 4. I'm so sorry. Grade 11 JC1. It was somewhere in Bogor, if I'm not wrong, and it was only for one night. Yeah, I did. And I did attend them. we went, I just remember a few, and it's like Kalyandra, Jogja, and Bogor. I think those are the three in like in order from like Sec 3, Sec 4, JC1. So yeah, there is that. And yeah, we're there. It was really fun. That's what I would say.
That's really nice of you guys.
Okay, so I think I believe you attend online university, right?
Right now it's sort of a hybrid. So I have some online, I have some offline. Yeah.
So, in your opinion, what are the advantages and disadvantages of online and offline university?
So I guess for offline, again, you can have like this sort of like sense of community. You see people online, you see people, and you're kind of just like, you know, opportunities to do things in like groups and everything instead of just breakout rooms where it's like an awkward silence and you're kind of like, I don't know who's gonna start talking, who's gonna unmute first. That is so much easier in like an in real life breakout room, aka a group. So yeah, I think that is something that's definitely an advantage of offline university, where it's just like you get to talk to people, you get to talk to your professor, and you get to like, sort of figure out like, oh, this is like this, or it's like you just feel like you're part of the you actually feel like you're part of the class. That's what I would say. Online university, I think it gives people the freedom to, especially when it's like pre-recorded lectures or stuff like that, it gives people the freedom of being able to just like learn when they can. Because in university, there's a diverse amount of people. It's not just people of your age. Sometimes there are mothers, sometimes there are people who have children, for example. I mean, well, parents, I'd say, instead of just mothers. There are parents in school, and there are other people who are working full-time jobs, which is 40 hours per week, and they're still taking like 5 or 4 classes. And then it's just like, it's a lot. That is a lot of work to do. And it's online university. It gives you that freedom to be able to do your things while also learning at the same time. People, they work because sometimes they have to, or it's just like they want to. Either way, like being able to watch a pre-recorded lecture instead of having to attend that lecture, you can work your shift, go home, and the lecture will still be there, and you won't get penalized for not coming to class and stuff like that. And I think that that's a very big advantage, especially for people who really, really need it, because it's just like otherwise they'd have to stop work. And then what if they actually need like that much money and they can't, earn it because they have to go to school? Then how? And then they won't, it was not as efficient for these types of people, I think. Not these types of people, for these people. I'm so sorry, that sounded a bit rude. But yeah, those are the offline and online advantages of university, in my opinion. Yeah.
Is like, do you compete in class? Like, you feel like you need to be better than the others, or is it just you versus you?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say it's me versus me. That's what I feel. I don't think, at least for the classes that I've been in, it's not like everyone is kind of like, everyone around here is my enemy. I'm not going to talk to any of you. I'm not going to make friends. I'm not going to do this. I'm only going to talk to you if I need to, or if I need something from you. It's not like that. That is a very selfish way of looking at the world, and you'll feel very lonely if that was the case. Of course, you want to be better than everyone, but it's not like everyone's like, oh, I got a 90, and then someone's like, well, I got a 91. It's not like that. People don't usually flex their grades. They're kind of just like, oh, okay, yeah, it's all good. This is for me, this is for myself. And right now, you're all learning the same things. People go through different situations. Again, you have to be sensitive to that. You cannot be like, oh, for example, a student A who's like lives with his parents, lives with their parents, lives and like has a car, for example, has the finances, has everything ready for them. They're like, oh, I got an A. And student B has to work, has to provide for their family, maybe has to commute to school, for example. They're like, oh, I wasn't able to get an A. I was able to get a B. It would be very rude for student A to be like, well, I got an A, how come you got a B? Their situations are not the same. You don't want to flex like that. That's why I feel like putting yourself on a competition, it's really harmful, I'd say, unless that's what motivates you. If that's what motivates you, I would say maybe try and direct that competition in terms of your past self. You want to be bettering yourself, not like in a sense like I have to be better than everyone all the time. If you keep thinking that way, you are probably going to end up burning out. You're probably going to end up feeling like, what if, on a bad day, you might be like, what if I am not better than anyone? And then you might lose all that motivation in like a flash, because that's what I think I would go through. I don't like comparing myself with other people. I used to panic so much when it came to like listening to people talk about like, oh, this is what I did in graduate school. This is how I get to graduate school. And it's like, oh my God, I'm against all these people who are also going for the same thing with me. I'm not good enough. I'm not this and not that. That is very harmful. It has led me to a lot of dark places. It is not fun. I don't suggest doing that. So what I instead try to do is I want to be better than the me I was last week. Even if it just means like I'm gonna drink more water. I didn't drink that much water last week and I'm drinking more water now. That's a step forward. You're always taking steps forward. So don't worry about that. So in terms of competition, me against old me instead of me against everyone. Again, you want to make friends in university. You're there for 4 years. 4 years might seem like a quick amount of time, but imagine having to go 4 years in Raffles without knowing anyone, without being friends with anyone. That is very lonely. And it's like, this is a large part of your life where you get to experience things on your own without your parents and everything, without someone to constantly be there for you. You want someone to be there. I'm not saying it has to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but you want someone you can lean on sometimes. And I think friends are pretty important. So you don't want to look at everyone like we are all competition. Got to keep my eye out. Got to watch my back. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. So yeah, what I feel.
Also clear, living in Canada, is it hard? Maybe the immigration process there.
So I had an agent for that. I would suggest getting one. I mean, if you're gonna study abroad, it just helps with things like so much easier. They kind of know more information than you probably would. And it's like they'll help you. That kind of depends on what they'll help you with. Immigration process, I kind of just like gave them excuse me, I gave them what they needed, and then they did the whole process for me. So I can't really speak much on that, unfortunately. In terms of, but you just want to be careful. That is my one piece of advice, because I went through trouble getting here in some sense, where it's like, um, and this is actually from the school itself. The school told me it was okay to come with a parent. And when I came here, my dad wasn't allowed in because of COVID. And that was actually like that was a very dark time in my life. Um, I didn't know what to do, because it's like we traveled here for like how long? Like maybe like a day. And you're telling me now that we're at the airport, you're telling me my dad can come with me? Like, what am I supposed to do? I've never been alone in a country and stuff like this. So immigration process, my only advice is just be careful, get an agent, make sure you know the right information. um this is like, I was very paranoid about this, and I think that it was rightfully so. So do that. Just make sure you read through what exactly they ask of you. Sometimes it's tricky, so make sure you check again with like immigration officers and stuff like that, and be like, okay, is this correct? Is this information accurate? Blah 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 blah, and etc etc etc. Sorry, not blah blah blah, but like, yeah, be careful. And I think once you're in, just make sure, I'm sure that no one's gonna do a crime. I'm pretty sure no one's gonna do a crime. You shouldn't be doing crimes outside or anywhere. Anywhere, you shouldn't be doing crimes. So as long as you do that, you stick to your own stuff, you're good. So yeah, that's kind of it, really. Yeah, I feel like that was one of the harder parts of university, honestly, the immigration process. But once you're in, you are living, sort of, and you're just sort of chilling. Yeah.
Also clear, we have a lot of problems nowadays in
Oh,
in this world we're living, like racism, you know, religions,
yeah.
genders, inequality. we would like to ask, how do you cope? How do you see the differences in culture, languages, skin color? How do you tolerate that when you're in university, especially abroad, with many different, people with different backgrounds, families, and even financial situations?
This is actually one of the things that is highly like it's spoken about so much, and it's like this should be applied like everywhere. It is to be inclusive, and I have spoken about this not in like a speech or anything, but like I've spoken about this to like my friends, to like my to my parents, at least my mom, and I just think about this to myself and everything. It's you have to respect everyone, and it's like that. You owe at least everyone the bare minimum of respect. That's my motto, kind of. It's like I'm gonna give everyone the same level of respect. The second I think you don't deserve it, then that's it. I'm just gonna ignore you. But in terms of well, I wouldn't use the word tolerate or cope, because, well, to me, they are just people. They're humans. They are people just like me. They're here for the same purpose as I am, to study, to learn something new, to gain information about something that I'm interested in and they're interested in too. So I do understand that there is a lot about racism, sexism, and all the other isms, but well, I guess that is one of the things that I feel like really kind of like helps build safe community is how they are handled. This might sound a little jarring or a little this one, but nowadays, the whole term about like canceling and all of that stuff, it is so much more dangerous when it is on the internet. That is all I'm saying. Because if, for example, someone said like the N-word and they weren't supposed to, for example, please don't say the N-word. It is not okay. It might be okay like now, but like just saying that, it is not okay at all. Like in the outside world, absolutely not. It is a racist act. But yeah, when they say the N-word, if someone they have that information and they decide to use it against you, they just have to email the university from some kind of email and you'd be out. You'd be expelled, suspended or even expelled. And that's it. What are you going to do? Your life is over. So I think what is important, you need to be inclusive of everyone. You need to show everyone respect. You need to understand that it is like, there are people that are different from you, people with different backgrounds, people, again, with the financial situations and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to seem self-centered. You don't want to seem like the only type of people that exist in the world are my people. No, that is not true at all. And I guess this is not even something that like you kind of like think about unless you look for it. When I see like my school has like a bunch of people where it's like, I believe I've seen like some Chinese, Koreans, Black people, and all this stuff. And I mean stuff, no, sorry, all these types of people. Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think about it unless I'm like actively looking for it. And I'm not actively looking for it. Unless you are constantly being like, where is the Korean? Or where is do I see like a Chinese person here? You're not gonna care because again, no one really thinks about that kind of stuff. Everyone is together, everyone is here for the same purpose. That is how I see it. And it's just like you're a person, I'm a person, we're in a lecture, that is it. I do not like, I am not going to judge you for your skin color, your religion, anything. There are clubs for different religions, there are clubs for different like ethnicities and everything. You will feel well, I wouldn't say that, but you will probably find a community where you can belong to. And I do think that there is a growing problem in terms of like all these isms, but there is also much change in working towards that. And I'm very glad that I haven't run into a sort of situation where I was discriminated against for, being Asian and stuff like that. That's all really. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. And if not, you could ask again.
Yes, yes. Previously, we've also discussed regarding class competitors, as Nara have just asked you about that. We're interested to know, like, if we see the grades in the world, like for example, if we take Examples from sports. Let's mention the greatest of all times. For example, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Messi, Ronaldo. They're the best of the best, like at their own field. Like we would like to ask, what separates the good from the best? Yes, we can link this in terms of studies. Yes. What do you think of that? What's your thoughts? What makes the difference?
I think that hard work, that is something. It's the amount of effort you put into what you do, you know. And it's like obviously those people you just mentioned, they didn't become like that overnight. It's a process, right? You constantly wake up, you do it again and again. For example, I guess Kobe Bryant, he do basketball every day, right? It's not something that's like, oh, you know, I'm good at it already. Being humble, that's another thing. Being able to constantly push yourself to be better every single day. Because if you keep saying, I'm good enough, I don't need practice, I don't need this and that, you're not going to get, you know, you're going to be stuck at the same spot. That is why this is, I'm so sorry about that. This is something that Raffles has like said, and it's like having a growth mindset. And that is very important. Being able to just keep like saying, I can be better than this, I can be better than this, and pushing yourself again and again and again. But again, not until you break and burn out, but also like knowing, like being able to assess where you stand in terms of like, you know, for example, where does Kobe Bryant think he stood in amongst all his competitors, and being able to be like, okay, my next goal is to reach this other like level, for example, and like after that this next level and stuff like that. Having someone to admire, I think that's also something that's really helpful. What separates good from the best is just hard work and being able to be humble, in my opinion. That's, yeah, because that being humble is not just for people around you, it's for yourself. It really helps in terms of growth and being able to work hard and constantly do, you know, better again and again and again. Because you'll explore things about yourself. You're like, oh, I can reach a new limit. I can do this. And that's, I think, the best people do. They constantly improve themselves. And, you know, good people might stop somewhere. People who are good at something might stop somewhere, but again, people who are good at something can also become the best at something, in my opinion, if you just keep pushing forward. So yeah, I just think it's different levels type of thing. So yeah.
Okay, so I think that's for our podcast for today. Thank you very much, Claire, for the
No,
like. Thank you very much.
But
no.
before we end, may we have your final message here to those listening here, maybe the teachers from Raffles, students, even Bianca, your sisters, maybe listening to this podcast because we're going to broadcast it throughout our revisions. Yeah.
Um, I guess it's kind of just to you know, on top of everything I said today, like I'll just give a little summary because that's how, you know, it works. But it's just keep doing what it is that makes you happy. Find um you know, something that gives you the happiness. If it's studies, well, great. If it's something else, do it anyway. Like eating, you know, go ahead and eat and stuff like that. Being happy is super important in life. I know it's hard. It might seem like it's not important when all you should be doing is studying, but this is again going back to that point. You are so much more than your studies. You are so much more than your work. For example, for the teachers, you know, you are a person outside of that. You deserve to do human things. You deserve to give yourself a break. You deserve to get to be praised if you did something you're worthy of praise. Um, if you did something worthy of praise, and it's also just um, yeah, live in the moment too. I guess that's also something that's really important. I spent so much of my time thinking about uni and like wishing that I wasn't in Raffles. And then I found myself like, wow, if I didn't do that, if I looked at things maybe from a different perspective, which I know is difficult sometimes, maybe it could have been a bit happier and everything. So yeah. And you know, even if it's okay to break down. It's okay to take breaks. It is okay to give yourself, some time, to do other things besides studying. I'm not saying do this like a week before exams, but like, of course, manage your time. And yeah, remember that you're human. Remember that everyone in the class is on the same path as you, almost on the same path as you. You have a community. Remember that you are cared for, whether by your parents, by your teachers, by your friends. Someone out there is taking care of you. Someone's like, I want to say you are loved, because I think that's very important, especially when now in university I feel a lack of it sometimes, and it's very sad. So yeah, take care of yourself. You've got a long way to go, and that's okay. Baby steps is what gets through it. You can do it. Just take an extra step every day, whether it be in life or in school, and you will get to your goal at some point. It's okay. It doesn't matter if you're not on the same speed as everyone else. What matters is you reach it, right? So it's okay. Take a deep breath and keep going. So yeah, you got this.
So that concludes our podcast today. Claire Regina Kurniawan, former Raffles Christian School Kubonjuro campus. Thank you so much, Claire, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much.
Signing out.